For those who take Uber, the numbers will likely sound alarming. According to Uber's study, over the course of 2017 and 2018, there were nearly 6,000 reported sexual assaults during or after an Uber ride, ranging from groping to rape. The most severe of those assaults, rape, being reported 464 times. That's roughly 4 reported rapes every week. 1 in every 5 million rides. I was surprised to read that about half of the victims are riders and the other half are drivers.
That's right. And so this is not just a one-sided problem. We have to keep in mind that both drivers and riders are victims.
Tony West, Uber's chief legal officer, tells us the company is committed to addressing safety concerns. Releasing these numbers publicly, he says, is part of that commitment. What happens when that complaint is made?
Well, you know, that complaint is actually taken and it is sent to a special unit.
In essence, an investigative arm?
Well, it's an investigative arm.
How is a tech company qualified to have that kind of investigative arm?
Well, I think inherently no company is probably qualified to have that arm. That is why you have to reach out to experts in the field. According to the study, Uber is aware of law enforcement's involvement in 37% of the reported rape cases.
That number seems kind of low to me. Just 37%?
I'll tell you, one of the facts about sexual assault is that it is a very underreported offense. Uber shouldn't make that choice for survivors. Survivors should make that choice for themselves.
It also opens up the possibility that Uber is aware of someone who potentially raped someone else who's out in the public without involving law enforcement.
As someone who is a former law enforcement official, I understand the tension. We have lots of information about an incident that we will share with law enforcement if we get the consent of the victim.
Uber's study reveals that more than 40,000 drivers were banned in the U.S. in the last 2 years as part of continuous background checks for a variety of reasons, including sexual misconduct. Uber announcing that they plan to share those names with other rideshare companies, including Lyft. When you first approached sexual violence advocates with this idea, were they surprised to hear what you wanted to do?
I think whenever we've told anyone what we were planning to do with this report by counting the incidents and then releasing the data publicly, I think it surprised everybody.
Sexual violence advocate Karen Baker worked with Uber on the study and calls it unprecedented. What do you hope other companies take away?
Although this is a difficult topic, no one really wants to think about sexual harassment or sexual assault. It is happening in their space. And so what they can do is to be open and honest about it.
Uber is also rolling out new safety measures in the wake of this report. Passengers and drivers will be able to contact 911 directly from the app. That's during a ride. They are also introducing new PIN codes to ensure that passengers get in the right car. And they are now doing continuous background checks on drivers. That means a driver has to go through a background check, guys, and then they continue to check up on that driver over the course of their employment.
A lot of people were noticing that you said of the numbers that Uber released, half of the victims were drivers.
Yeah, I found that very surprising as well. And although not here in New York City, I have noticed in my travels that when I go to other cities, there are a lot of young female drivers who are working with Uber. And so they raise the point that this is both drivers and passengers. Guys, this report also takes a look at fatalities. They look at crash fatalities. And during this 2-year period of time, there were 107. And according to their comparison, that's a little less than half of the national rate. They point out that it's a little bit safer in that regard to travel with Uber.
Okay. Stephanie.
Thank you, Steph.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.